Hey there. Welcome to the Eurostep, a Milwaukee Bucks podcast, proudly a part of the Blue Wire Podcast Network and GSPN. I am one of your hosts, Ty Windish, joined as always by my lovely co-host, Rohan Kadi, and we are presented by our pals at Prize Picks, where you can get $50 when you play $5 for the first time if you use promo code Eurostep or use the link in any of these descriptions. You're checking out the podcast on. Go do that. Help us out by interacting with our wonderful sponsor. But Rohan, I usually ask, how's it going? Bucks blew another halftime lead. They are now, again, 14th in the East. We were up to 13th last time we potted, back down to 14th. How's it going?
Ty, I'm becoming numb to this, and I'm just trying to cling to the bright spots.
Lincoln Park, Rohan.
Yeah, that call is the end of a Transformers movie.
Nice.
Yeah. I try to look for bright spots and things, and it's because I'm just becoming so numb to these Bucks losses. It's like, yeah, it's another loss, of course. Yeah, why would they win a basketball game?
But I suckered myself last pod. I got myself optimistic, and then they just absolutely crushed me.
It felt like I got a gift from the heavens when it's like, oh, focusing on bright spots. I pulled this signed AJ Green card.
Nice.
When opening some packs, and I'm like, oh my god, it's perfect because AJ Green is such a revelation on this team. It's looking so well. Guess what? Doesn't matter. They still lose.
60.5% from AJ. Maybe we'll just talk about that for a while. No, we are here to. So the Bucks are 2-8 now, 14th in the East. They play Toronto on Tuesday. First NBA Cup game, blue court, and a battle for 15th in the East. So huge game on Tuesday. But we're not going to look ahead too much. We're not going to preview that like we did the Knicks game. We have a lot to talk about because via a tweet, and now I'll have to pull up the @ I did not have it ready, but someone on Twitter, because I was talking last night about how I didn't think Giannis played well down the stretch. And I was asked, if you did a pie chart to distribute blame at CatGod29, wasn't at. If you had a pie chart to distribute blame for the Bucks, how would you do it? And I said, well, I'm not doing all the work for that to be a tweet or an X, especially because I'm on Blue Sky just as much lately. Blue Sky's popping right now.
Is it?
Yeah, it's popping.
Oh, okay. I need to get on that.
Yeah, check that out. But I want to do it on the pod. I knew we were doing a pod, like 12 hours or less from that point. So I said, know what?
Why is everyone following me on Blue Sky?
I told you. But I said, let's do it on the podcast. So I bullied Rohan by just tagging him in the tweet and not sending it to him offline. So sorry, Rohan, but I figured you would be on board because we need new lenses to talk about why this team keeps disappointing us. And I do think this is an interesting one to think about.
Have you ever seen Veep?
Only a little, but I need to. It's going to be very topical. I clearly need to watch it more.
Yeah, it's like when, for those who haven't seen Veep, sorry for this 1 second, but it's like when Selena forces whatever what's his name? Oh God,
not doing a good job.
I'm not doing a good job at all.
Veep.
When forces Tom James to be the economy zone. Just by announcing it to the public, just say, hey, Tom, you're the new economy zone. That works so much better in my head.
Sorry. No, but I get your point. That is but I was excited about this idea. And I think it's a good way because we are, we're pretty drilled down. So if we had just did without this lens, we would be like, what went wrong in the Boston game? What went wrong in the Knicks game, which I only watched half of, but the half I watched was pretty disgusting. And just focus on that. I want to kind of zoom out a little, like this whole start, 2-8, obviously very bad. Who is to blame or what is to blame and how much for all of this? So do you think we should go one at a time or go in like each share one at a time? Like, what do you think works best?
Yeah, let's go one at a time. And if we have some like overlap, we can talk about that.
Yeah. So, okay, I guess let's do it this way. What is the biggest amount of percentage any one? I didn't do just like specific players. Well, I have a 30%. Do you have one higher than 30%?
No.
Okay. So I did 30%, and people might be mad. I didn't do like individuals on the pie chart. I did concepts. So disappointing vets, and then in parentheses, Bobby/Pat/Trent/Wright/Brooks/Dame, 30%. And what I mean by this, and obviously they're not all equal within this, but at various points throughout this feels like young 10-game season, but also we're like nearly an eighth of the way through the season now. It's not that young anymore. All of those 6 players have had, I would say, multiple games where the Bucks really just needed them to be better, and they were bad to varying levels of bad. And this is like Nikias and Steve on the dunker spot refer to as like the play better button. I mean, I think that is a lot of the reason they're 2-8 is because, again, 6 players. That's a lot of players. That's more than half of a rotation typically have all at times been like, oh, that player is either actively hurting the team, Bobby Pat and Dame against the Celtics, and Brooke against the Knicks, I would say, or just like not really doing anything to help, which is most of the DeLon Wright experience. Now he's maybe hurt, maybe not. That's its whole own thing. And then if Gary Trent too has probably actively hurt them with the shooting. That's really hard to overcome, man. We're 10 games in. There's 6 players you could point at and be like, yeah, each of these guys has had multiple games where they were just unable to contribute to winning. And if you want to say like, oh, Pat Connaughton shouldn't be that important, DeLon Wright maybe, fine. That's still like 4 of your key players. 2 of them are starters. 1 of them is your key. 3 of them are starters. 1 of them is your key bench player. That's really hard to overcome. And shout out Taurean Prince, who I think some people think should do more, but man, he is, at least he can make shots, and God, do they need everything they can get right now. But almost every other vet outside of Giannis has had games where you're just like, yeah, this is going to be hard to sustain if they're going to be, again, we're not talking about 20 games and you can pick out 2 games. We're 10 games in. If you've had 2 bad games, that's 20% of you. That's too many. That's too many games, man.
It's bad. Shout out Taurean Prince, man, for all the jokes about Darvin Ham. Him being the like shining bright spot of this season is incredible.
I still see people like, oh, I can't. Lakers fans told us they were right. If you're looking at what's going on with the Bucks through these 10 games and going, Taurean Prince is the issue, you're missing a lot. You're missing a lot.
Like try watching a different sport.
I think Taurean Prince should have 9 points per game, not 7.5. Like, okay, Grandpa, that's fine.
Let's get you to bed.
Not on my top 100 problems list so far.
Yeah, I think we overlap a lot because I actually have my 30% is just role players.
Okay, so pretty similar, yeah.
I didn't have Dame in that, so I think that's probably the biggest differentiator. But it's role players, mostly like Bobby, Pat, like Brooke, Gary Trent, DeLon Wright, all of these players who are supposed to be like uplifting this team and are just not. They're really not. They're actively hurting the team. Every single game this season, you can point to one of those members and say, wow, they were bad. Yeah. Every single game this season, you can find one of that group, which is bad. That's really bad. Like,
it is.
A key contributor to your team actively hurting you in every single game this season is not good. It's actually quite disappointing and actually quite egregious.
Yeah. Well, and I think the tough thing about this whole exercise, as well as both of us having, our number one thing is like 5 different players, 5 or 6 different player issues, is it feels like Bucks problems this year are whack-a-mole. Like they will have like, oh, you're like, oh, Bobby and Pat, that's the issue. If they, Bobby and Pat, that's the reason they're losing. You get rid of those guys. Bobby and Pat were really good in the second Cleveland game. Maybe not really good, better in the second Cleveland game. Bobby and Pat, I thought, played really well against Boston, and they won both of their minutes against Boston. Like they were doing more switching with Bobby. He was actually, not doing great, and people got really mad at that 3-point foul on Tatum. It's hard to guard Jason Tatum on the. I mean, I didn't think it was an egregious foul. He fouled him, but overall, I thought those two played well in that game. And those are not the 2 players I would point at for that game and go, oh, it was their fault. I think, again, Dame had a bad game. I don't think Brooke Lopez is having a very good week, to put it pretty lightly. So that's, and then we have multiple more things each that are also problems. But the fact that there's that many players where you're like, oh yeah, that's problematic this season, that's tough, man. That's like, there's not an easy path forward to me. I'm no longer thinking like, okay, trade Bobby Portis and Pat Connaughton and the Bucks will just be great, because I think they got like the 90th percentile or higher outcomes from those 2 guys against Boston and still had just so many issues that was difficult for them to overcome. Yeah,
it's I like the idea of whack-a-mole and like try to plug every single hole in a sinking ship. Like once you plug one, another one shows up. It's it's unbearably difficult for the Bucks to not get in their own way with the players that are playing on the court. That's as simple as it is. And it's bad. You know what that means? You know what that's a tenet of? A bad basketball team. Because that's what they
Yeah.
are. They're a bad
Yep.
basketball team. They are,
Yep.
again, we're X% into the season now, and they're battling with Toronto for last place in the Eastern Conference. It's bad.
Yeah.
They're a bad basketball team. And they don't even own their pick this year.
Nope. And 2 different teams own it too.
Yeah.
I forgot that. I think the Nets have the first 4 and the Pels have the rest. Eesh. So my second one.
My second one's 25%.
-2. Wait, hold on. I have 30, 25, 15, 15, 10, 5. What do you have?
30.
If it's the same.
I have 30, 25, 20, 15, 10, 5.
Almost exactly the same.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. Wait, one of ours doesn't add up then.
Or if not, sorry. Wait, what do I have here?
I think I checked mine. I'm pretty sure mine add up. But yours were all the same for mine except one number, and that does not work.
No, wait. Did I mess this up?
Look at the charts behind you, Rohan. Set an example for kids.
We're appealing to the kids again, are we? Oh no, I forgot a 10 in there.
Okay. Whatever, we'll get there. But I love that, all the...
That's 30, 25, 20, 10, 10, 5.
Okay, so you have 20 and a 10, and where I have a 15 and a 15. But otherwise, they're largely the same.
Yeah.
It's hilarious that our numbers came out this similar, and we basically had the same first one. The extent of our convo about this was a tweet that everyone could see, and then I DM'd you like, I'm doing concepts, not players. Let me know if you're down with this. We'll do it tomorrow morning. And that was that.
That was it. That was all the pre-planning we had.
Yeah.
And
so my 25. Oh, go ahead.
Is it going to be the same?
I don't think so. Well, I'd be shocked. I wouldn't be shocked. I'd be a little surprised. I put culture.
Oh, okay. I'm with that.
Yeah, I think, and this is where I think a lot of these tie into each other. So I think we'll get to coaching, we'll get to roster, we'll get to the stars later in some order throughout mine. And I think all of those 3 have something to do with the culture, but and we don't know exactly what, right? Like we don't know who may not be behind the scenes an issue or what not improving this, right? It's I think it's a little bit of everyone, but I think their culture has sucked this season. I think their energy has sucked this season. I think their execution and just how hard they fight has sucked. I think their attention to detail has sucked. I think their shot selection has mostly sucked outside of, again, 2-3 games. And to me, we'll get to where the coaching staff factors in there. I think it's some, but I also don't think these are new issues to Doc. And I think these issues to me, again, that 2023 Heat series, I know Giannis was hurt. The way they played in that series was bad basketball, even without Giannis. I didn't think the difference in that series was, Giannis is out. I think Jimmy Butler literally demoralized them, and they just kind of went through the motions. And then obviously all the things that happened last season, none of them scream, this is a team with great culture. And they took a hit. They brought in Dame, who's supposed to be one of the ideal NBA culture setters, and they mutinied their coach in January, and they've been horrible ever since then. And I mean, they fought in the playoffs. I mean, they lost in the first round, but that was the high point. And now this season, half the games you can point to a full quarter or more where they were just just looked like they didn't care. I mean, the third quarter against Boston, I was like, what is this? What's happening? Do they not want to be here? I don't want to be here if you guys don't want to be here. Yeah. I could do something else with my Sunday. If you guys don't want to be playing basketball, I can watch a different team. What is this? They just didn't move. I mean, Boston wasn't even playing that hard, but the Bucks just looked like they looked like at halftime, Doc goes, all right, guys, here's clips of unspeakable tragedies. And that was the energy they had. They just watched the worst things that have happened in human history the whole halftime. I don't know what goes on, but I think it's bad. I don't think it's the way they play. To me, it's more than just I think it's all Doc's fault. It doesn't seem like they're on the same page and that they're all playing hard for 48 minutes. Again, outside of maybe the second Cleveland game, maybe those games, but I don't know, man. It's not and opening night.
Yeah, the second Cleveland game and opening night are the only games you can point to and saying yeah, this is this is a team that has the things together, that is playing with purpose. Because we haven't seen that. We've seen that for like a quarter or two in other games.
Yeah.
Like the Celtics game, for instance. We saw it in the first quarter.
Yeah.
And a bit of the fourth quarter, but it was too little too late at that point. But you come out to such a strong lead, you're playing so well, so fast. Like the way that the Bucks have been playing this season, they've succeeded when they play fast. And then you can see that in the Celtics game and saying, oh yeah, we're coming out here, we're playing so fast, we're getting everything going, everything's flowing, and then just to come out being so plodding in the second half. I tweeted the same thing. I was like, what is Doc doing? And they're like, what's going on at halftime? Like, what are they doing to these players to make it seem like, oh yeah, we can just come out here and just be lazy this whole time and we'll be fine. Yeah. My second category kind of plays into this, so we can talk about it.
Yeah.
It's just coaching in general.
Okay, yeah.
Because it's just been they haven't found it. They really haven't. Like this team lacks an identity, and an identity is supposed to come and it's supposed to be really imprinted upon you. The coaching staff is supposed to take these players, take what they learn, and be able to express and implement a culture along. Again, it's not just the coaching staff, it's the players as well who have to execute and like bring that ferocity. But a large portion of that comes up with the coaching staff. And there's been one consistency with Doc Rivers basketball in Milwaukee, and that's losing.
Yeah,
it's true. Like the Bucks have been a bad basketball team under Doc Rivers, and that extends to last season as well. Not to just rehash this entire conversation. This is what happens when you fire a coach midseason. You're stuck with the best option, and you have to keep him on a long-term contract. That's what happens. And the Bucks.
Did you see the report that Horst wanted Kenny again?
Yeah, of course he did. He can say whatever he wants after the fact. We'll get to him in a minute.
Yeah.
But yeah, hindsight's 2020, isn't it, John Horst? I'm going to come out and say, yeah, the Bucks should have drafted freaking Tyrese Maxey, like whenever they had the chance. I wanted it, but just the rest of the organization, they didn't. Yeah, of course, sure. I'll say whatever I want now.
Yeah.
Okay, Danny Ainge 2.0. No, seriously, like you could say whatever you want. Like if that came out last year, I would have believed it in a heartbeat. But it being just coming out right now is a little disappointing. Or maybe it did, and I just missed it.
Yeah, I mean, Atkinson's name was out there. We don't know, of course, exactly who made what decisions to go where. Yeah, that's the difficult thing with the GM stuff. It's just like how much contributed to everything. So you had coaching at second. So I had Doc coaching staff tied for third for the same reasons. And I think this is just not as easy as some people make it seem, because we loved the way they played opening night, offensively and defensively. But a lot of it was just like you just need to be locked into. I mean, I don't know if there's any defense where you can't be locked in the whole game, but especially, they're rotating help side defense to like cover up for the bad perimeter defenders. You just need to be locked in, and the Bucks just aren't. So they don't rotate. They miss a rotation. Guys hit threes. Guys get to the rim. It's really bad. And then Brook goes out, and it just feels like they have no rim protection and no strong point defensively. But I also think like I thought the Rex Kalamian defense was just better than the Greg Buckner defense so far. I thought they executed crisper last year, and then this new scheme where it's like all about all this very active rotating and help side and everything. I don't know if it's as suited for what the Bucks do. That. Yeah, I feel like we're kind of back to the AG issue of I don't know if they can do this.
And it's been like, depending on the personnel, it's been really hit or miss, obviously. But there's been really good. There have been bright spots in that. And again, getting back to my boy AJ Green, our boy, friend of the pod, AJ Green. Yeah. There was a possession on the Celtics game where I think he was, what was it? I think it was Peyton Pritchard and Neemias Queta. There was it was Brooke, and it was like Dame or something or someone on the court. I can't remember exactly, but they get a switch, and so Dame is guarding Queta, and whoever, like the small is guarding Queta, the big is guarding Peyton Pritchard on the perimeter. The Celtics forced that switch, and then immediately it's in a corner, and then try to immediately get the ball to the big, or Keita, I believe it was, just to like get it. And then
Oh,
AJ
yeah.
Green comes out of nowhere and just
Yeah.
reads that passing lane, even though it's on the far side corner, and just takes
Yeah.
the ball, pokes the ball. And I'm like, okay, this is where this defense can succeed with all of this help side movement and rotations. And it's like, yeah, read that and it's available. It only works if your players are fast. Can you imagine Bobby Portis trying to do that? Can you imagine,
No.
like, I don't know.
I mean, Gary Trent should be able to do it, though.
You would think,
That's
right?
where I think these things are tied together, because some of the worst offenders are not the old, quote unquote old players.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Defensively. But like the rotations, I don't think are great. I don't think they're terrible. And again, Giannis had a quote about this after the next game. Like, he likes what Doc, like Doc is trying things, clearly. I mean, now we're
Ryan
seeing
Rollins.
AJ starts. Ajax starts. AJ Green was their number one bench player. Ryan Rollins was 1 minute less than Pat in this game, and clearly has taken, again, DeLon Wright not being ruled out to injury. Technically, he's getting DNP CD'd. I think Ryan Rollins just took his job. Ryan Rollins had 3 blocks.
I mean,
in that game.
Doc said, yeah, Ryan Rollins is ahead of DeLon Wright in the rotation.
Yeah, I mean, why wouldn't he be?
Yeah.
What he brings them with his activity defensively.
Which again is just Doc just like talking.
No, he's a talker, all right. But I still have him at, again, tied third most blame, because I think it's taken a little long to get here, but also like the fact that Doc, we're in 10 game mark and Doc has Ajax starting and AJ Green and Ryan Rollins as 2 of the 4 bench players. I mean, there's injuries involved, but still that's pretty wild. But Pat Connaughton's still playing a little too much for me. I know why he plays though. Like, he is a ball mover in a way that most of the players on the court are not. He had 2 assists again versus Boston. He played well against Boston overall. Yeah. But
there were a few jumpy possessions where it's just like, you really can't.
His defense.
You can't unlearn how to do that, can you?
That's my real issue with him is defensively. I think offensively, even when his shot is hit or miss, it's okay.
I agree.
But I was looking this up, and he's played 164 minutes. Trent has played 215 minutes. Trent has 7 assists. PC has 18. Sheesh. So in, what is that, 51 less minutes, he's got 2.5 times the assists. Like, they need that ball movement. We talk about ball movement, how important it is. It's not just the stars, it's the role players too. I saw this take. I'm sorry, I don't remember whoever said it. Please come take credit. But like, PC is the canary of the coal mine in the Bucks offense at this point. Like, if he is able to be useful, like, you know what I mean? Like, the ball's moving, he's moving. Like, well, I don't think it's a little different than like Chris. Like, they just need to be healthy to win in the playoffs, which we'll get to injuries too. But it, like the way the offense is playing, if Pat Connaughton can survive, like be useful in it, their offense is going well. But if they're not moving the ball, he's just kind of useless. And I think that's actually a great take. I really like that take.
No, it is a good take. Pat's been good within a good flowing offense.
Yeah. So smart take there. But he's just so bad defensively. It's tough on this roster. And then also some of the culture stuff too. Again, like I think some of that is the coaching staff, and they have not had an identity. Identity is a good word. Culture is a good word. Like they have been bad and inconsistent under Doc.
Listen, do the Bucks need to clear 2 roster spots? If one is for Ryan Rollins and another is for a certain podcaster.
Oh, I mean, hey, there's clear a couple coaching roster spots for him. How about that? Imagine TA in that polo or quarter zip.
They've got Rondo in there.
Rondo is on the front of the bench now.
I was going to
say Rondo chatting up Rollins after stuff was awesome. By the way,
so is he just an assistant coach?
He's there. Yeah, he's there.
They never made an official announcement.
Well, I don't think he's going to be around full time, but we'll see if that changes. But yeah, I think he is.
So he's just a part-time assistant coach.
It's awesome for the young guys.
Oh, yeah,
that's for 100%. Sure. I mean, I will say in that game, of course, one of the biggest Doc criticisms is like the young players, like him walking Ajax through something during a free throw, Rollins getting to work with Rondo. Like, these young players are in a great spot to like establish themselves as NBA players right now. Not a good Ajax game, but he's just got to figure out what he does offensively sometimes. Okay, enough of the Celtics game talk. So are we both through 2 now? My third one was Doc coaching staff too.
No.
So what's your third biggest blame? So far, I've got disappointing vets at 30, culture at 25, Doc/coaching staff at 15. So I am 60% of the way through my blame. What do you have left? Or what's your next one?
So my top 2 were role players 30%, coaching 25%. My next thing at 20 is just organizational ineptitude. It's like, and it's not even coming to like John Horst, because John Horst is like another category.
Yeah.
But just this organization top down has gone through so many changes in the last couple of years, and nothing has worked. It really hasn't. Ever since Big Jimmy Haslam. Sorry,
I was gonna say.
No disrespect to Jim Ozarski.
Yeah, it's like
the Journal Sentinel reporter, not the city clerk.
There you go. Your favorite trivia.
It's so fun.
The Journal Sentinel Bucks reporter.
Yes,
to be clear, because
former Journal Sentinel reporter and now city clerk Jim Ozarski. Not him.
Not that one for sure. Neither of the Ozarskis.
Yeah, neither of the Jim Ozarskis in Milwaukee. It's so fun.
Yeah, that's random.
But Jimmy Haslam, ever since he was brought in, like, it gets to what we were talking about with that report, and I'm glad you brought that up because I wanted to talk about it, is just seems like things aren't going great, do they?
Yeah.
It seems like John Horst is battling ownership, and people are telling there's too many cooks to be able to do that.
We've heard Doc is going to be the GM. We've heard Horst wanted to go to the Pistons. Like, there's just been so much noise.
Exactly. There's been so much noise, and it's just a lot. And this is what happens when an organization is poorly run. Your team is bad. Like, there's no way you can get around the Bucks being bad without calling out the org. And I think you have to call out the org, because even though we might not be able to point to something specifically, it's a result of dysfunction. Like, a well-oiled run organization does not lead to bad basketball. A poorly run organization leads to bad basketball.
Yeah, I think the more I think about it, like, they probably shouldn't have fired Griffin midseason.
No, they shouldn't have. Like, that's so abundantly clear now.
Yeah,
it's so clear, because look at the Cavs. Look at the Cavs under Kenny Atkinson. Look at the Nets under oh my God, what's his name? Oh my God,
the basketball genius. Why can I not remember his name? I love this guy.
Oh my goodness. Oh, this is bad for me.
Why am I thinking Sergio? It's not Sergio. He did a
Jordy Fernandez.
Basketball.
Oh
Jordy.
my God.
I was so excited.
Like, think about these teams going through actual coaching. Like, the Nets have nothing, right?
No.
And they're still managing to be like a good, competent, competitive basketball team. The Cavs are like undefeated, never lost. Do you know how I want to be tweeting that? I want to be tweeting that, but I can't, because we're stuck watching this. Like, objectively, from a talent level, like, it goes back to what I was saying about coaching. It's like, the Bucks are a very, very talented team. Like, there's no denying that. They have all of the pieces that they would possibly need, but they can't put it together. That's the same thing that they had in Cleveland. Kenny Atkinson was able to figure out. The Nets, they got nothing. They are able to figure it out. The Lakers, JJ Redick just might be a sicko. Like, he is a sicko, but it might be like in a well coaching fashion. It's working for them better than the Bucks. Doc Rivers, like, you were stuck with Doc Rivers every single time because you fired Adrian Griffin midseason. What did that do for your organization? Nothing. It hurt them in the long run.
Yeah, I guess the devil's advocate is, if Dame and Giannis were healthy, you probably have a better chance.
Dame and Giannis are healthy now. They're losing.
No, I know, but that season, I'm saying that season, like, if they are literally not listening to Griffin, you probably have a better chance to win the title that season under Doc than Griffin.
Maybe, but like, I don't think they were winning the title regardless.
Well, yeah, I think that's but it's hard to sunk cost fallacy a Dame Giannis season.
That's fair.
So I know why they did it, but clearly in retrospect, it didn't work out at all. They could have flamed out in the first round or better under Griffin, and then if they were that bad all the way through, do a real search. I remember saying this maybe on one of our premium pods, GSPN Premium, if you want to go subscribe at gspn.info.
Yeah, you get GSPN After Dark.
Yeah, I don't think anybody had a bad coaching hire this cycle. So it feels really bad that the Bucks ended up with Doc Rivers and now are bad. Before we get into the rest, let's talk about something good. Our friends at Prize Picks, America's #1 daily fantasy sports app, the best place to get in on the real money sports action. There's more than 10 million members. We are two of them. Rohan, I know you had a semi-successful Prize Picks play, which is more than the Bucks can say about their weekend of basketball. Why don't you share, your lineup here?
Yeah, so I did a 4-pick flex play.
Love a flex play.
Love a flex play. And it's 4, which is kind of tame for me.
Yeah.
Usually I like to do 5 or 6.
Well, it's just like Doc, you're trying things. You're
I am
saying, you know what? We're on a losing streak. We got to fix this.
We got to. So here's what you got to lean into some stuff at this point.
Yeah. Oh boy.
So my first pick, Al Horford, more than 8 points, higher than 8 points on the 8-point projection.
Yeah.
It was odd because it's like usually it's like 8.5 or something like that. But this one was just straight 8, and I was like, it's Al Horford. He's gonna do it just to spite me. We just got there. He had 9.
Oh, nice. I was gonna say not a huge game from him, but he did get there. Good.
Yeah. And then our good friend Torian Prince.
Yeah.
The projection is half a free throw made.
Wow. Did he do that?
No.
Oh,
So I
man,
picked less than. He hasn't made a free throw.
Oh, you said less than. Okay. Good. Okay.
He hasn't made a free throw in a long time.
I was gonna say Torian Prince does not get fouled very often.
So that one was kind of
those ones are tough. Imagine somehow he ends up taking like a technical free throw. You're sitting there,
here's the thing: he's never the best free throw shooter on the court.
No, he's not.
It's going to be Dame. It's going to be AJ Green. One of those two is going to be on the court. Usually like Gary Trent or something.
Well, he's out. I mean, there's like if it's like Bobby, Giannis, Prince, Ajax, somebody, like maybe you could get there, but yeah, that's pretty unlikely. That's pretty unlikely. Well, we've seen bad lineups. Sorry, go on. I'm interrupting you.
And then Giannis Antetokounmpo, half a 3-point attempted.
Do you go more or less than?
More. He attempted 2 of them.
He did. Didn't make any yet.
Nope. No, he did. He made one against.
Oh yeah,
the
he
Celtics.
made one. Yeah, I missed like the first 4 minutes. The great start. Yeah.
So he started shooting, like he had a 3 attempted against the Knicks, which was his first time in a while. I was like, he's gonna do it again, isn't he?
Yeah.
And then here's where it went wrong. It was Brook Lopez projected 1.5 offensive rebounds. I went more than, didn't have a single one. I thought Brook Lopez with the Celtics' big trouble would be able to get in there some more. He didn't.
Well, and I think it was closer than you think, because I think he had he had his tap outs, which I think count, but they all went to Boston.
They really did.
Like he would reach out. I think it goes to like our like culture and disappointing vets and like identity, because they're so bad at rebounds. And yeah, Brook reaches up and slots one out, and it's right to Tatum fast break. So
it was really unfortunate. However, since it was a flex play, I was still able to get 1.5 times my money on that.
There you go. So that's something. Again, the Bucks. I wish the Bucks got 1.5 times their result, and I don't know what that would mean. A half win per game would be pretty good right now.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah,
that'd mean they're 500 right now. Can you imagine being 500?
No, it's going to be a while, I think. So the Bucks can't do.
Yeah,
this
they need to win 6
problems.
games in a row to be 500, Ty.
I think. Oh yeah. But you can just win right away on Prize Picks and win up to 100 times your money. You're not under 500 here. Well, maybe you are, but if you haven't played before, no. Well, I'm talking to the listener here, Rohan.
Oh, I thought you were talking to me.
Dear listener,
you looked at me and said that.
Joe Q, listener. Well, where else am I going to look?
That's fair. This is the 2 persons.
Listeners, I'm addressing you now. Download the app today and use code Eurostep to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's promo code Eurostep, and you can find links in the description. Get $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. You do not have to win to get the $50. Prize Picks, run your game. Okay, now I'm addressing you, Rohan.
This team is making me go insane.
I get you. Okay, so I've got disappointing vets, culture, Doc. You've got role players,
coaching, organizational ineptitude.
Okay, so my next one, and I had it above Doc coaching staff, but they're tied, so it made more sense to say that. I do think, I don't want to say it's too, I mean, again, we're 15%. It's not that big of a piece. Injuries do matter, though, and I think they still have a big role. Like, I think they are a clearly better team if Chris is out here for even some of these games. Like, their offense has been a big deal, too. I know their defense, I think, is probably what's talked about a little bit more, but the Bucks offense has just clearly not been good enough. This is a team that needs to be a great offensive team because they have Dame and Giannis. Like, that's kind of the whole thing. And let's see, I didn't pull it up before. They are 19th in offense. and 22nd in defense. So to your point about identity, they are good at nothing. So 0 games of Chris in your first 10 games does not help. Also, Gary Trent, fully sidelined now and just playing bad before. Something just got in my throat. Oh my goodness.
You need me to save you here?
No, I'm good now. I muted Mike and coughed it out.
What a champ. What a trooper.
Fighting through it. Injuries, man. Even the podcasters are getting hurt. But Giannis misses a game, which, the game probably plays out totally different. But again, they lose on a last-second shot to the best team in basketball in a game Giannis doesn't play. So I don't want to talk about this too much. We all know the deal. But injuries still do matter. And 0 games of Chris, however many games Trent has missed, 3 now, I think. And maybe it was affecting his 2 now, but maybe it was affecting his performance before, and he left one of them early. And 1 game of Giannis lost certainly does matter. I think, AJ Green or Andre Jackson Jr.'s fought through something. Apparently, DeLon Wright dealt with something. Like, those are obviously a little less important, but still a factor. It would be great if Chris Middleton could play a game here at some point.
Yeah, it would be great. I actually had injuries at 10.
Okay.
So similar to you, but yeah, it'd be great if Chris, I think it mostly comes down to Chris Middleton. I didn't want to just call out Chris Middleton specifically.
Yeah.
But it's like, yeah, your third best player hasn't played yet. Your connecting piece on offense has not played yet. A guy who will literally will drop 40 with 0 good ankles, excuse me. I wish he had
Chris
had
0 bad angles. He might average 40.
He might, who knows? That dude's just a straight killer. And it'd be nice to have a guy like that on the court. A guy, when you get into these close situations where the offense really bogs down, will just go and get you a bucket no matter what. Like Dame theoretically could do that, but sometimes he's just small. Like we saw that a lot during the Boston game where he really, really struggled. Derek White and Drew Holiday were just swallowing him up whole. I almost said a really bad joke.
Banging and banging and banging.
I was going to say it's Glorilla out here.
Oh my God. Whoa. The kids.
What?
Go on. We have to. It's like I'm coming home with something. We can't talk about Bucks wins. At least we can be good for the community.
That's fair.
But now we're not. So now we have nothing. Just like the Bucks, no identity here on the Euro.
We got nothing. You were egging me on.
Yeah. It was.
What was I saying? Oh yeah, Dame is just sometimes kind of small, but Chris will go get a bucket against anyone. Can you imagine in that third quarter where the Bucks are just struggling to do anything? It's just like give the ball to Chris.
Yeah,
just get something. Just do something. Stop the bleeding. And he'll
these
do
actions, that. They're swarming Dame around screens. Like the guy's 1 pass away. Giannis is in a crowd too. It's like AJ Green, who, by the way, back to coaching. Can we make sure Dame and AJ Green don't run the same routes every other play? What is going on? It happened like 4 times.
It worked out once.
Did they plan it? Like, is it actually what they're... I mean, like, it's really bad.
Because they both looked confused every time.
Yeah, the fact that they can't figure out, like, they want to do this DHO-centric offense, then no one gets the ball, like, 4 times a game. Can we clean this up? Hey, can we get this cleaned up? That's not good. That's bad. These possessions where, like, Brooke or Torian Prince just they'd throw out terrible pass because no one comes and gets the ball. Maybe someone should go get the ball. I don't know. That'd be a good idea.
There was one possession, I think it was in the 4th quarter, where they just ran out the shot clock trying to get the ball.
No one got the ball
at the top of the key.
They pressured, like no one back cut, no one else moved, and then people just stopped going. And Brooke is just like, someone's got to come get the ball, man.
Do you want me to do something?
I guess so shockingly he waited that long. Usually,
I think he had picked it up.
But I mean, just to he'll shoot from anywhere. He doesn't care.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like I'm surprised he didn't just that Dirk Burke Levitsky throwback. He's been doing some of those this year. Nothing's working. Brooks said, "I got us." He doesn't.
Yeah, it's just been really, really bad to see, and there's just so many instances where Chris Middleton would cover up for bad role players, for instance. Yeah, you're getting another guy who can be a 20-point per game scorer. He won't be, but he could be on any given night.
They might need him to be. Get real well soon, Chris.
Yeah. And it just is so, it's the worst part of it is, like I'm saying, you could see so many instances where it's like, Chris would have really helped there. Chris would have really helped there. And it just shows how important he is to this team. They need him. They absolutely need him. I'm not saying Chris Middleton being out is the entire reason they are 2-8. That's not true. As we're going through this pie chart of blame, it's not. It's just not true. I think they'd be better.
Of course
They'd be way
would.
better.
Yeah,
I think they'd be closer to 500 with Chris.
Easily, you would hope so. Also, like to the culture point of it, Chris is like one of, if not one of their strongest voices in that. Like so many moments over the year. Yes,
Doc. I think even though I put a lot of blame on the coaching staff, I'm so happy Doc talks. In one thing he said, I think it was Doc, where he says Chris is like he's the QB out on he's the QB out there. He's the one who's calling everything out. He's the one that's talking. He is the one that's bringing this team and coalescing this team. They need him so bad.
Also, he's like, I mean, how many times have we seen him? A lot of the time, Bobby like go and call someone out like directly between plays, like, hey, like, calm down, or do this. Like they need more of that.
It's mostly just Bobby.
It's a lot of Bobby, but Bobby no text this year.
No, he did get that stupid delay of game.
That was the delay of games in this game were. I mean, that one was his fault. The one on Giannis I thought was pretty soft, but whatever.
He does that headbutt a lot, but here's the thing about the headbutt. He usually does it and it hits the stanchion. So that way it's like right there. Like players do that all the time where they just roll the ball to the stanchion. Yeah, Giannis does that a lot too, where he headbutts the ball to the stanchion. He missed. And it went into the crowd.
Toward the out of bounds, it shouldn't be delay of game.
Yeah, it shouldn't be. I understand why it was though, because it kind of it went far. And I'm like, as soon as he did that, I was like, this is gonna be a delay game, isn't it?
Yeah. And thankfully they missed that one, but the free throw.
What was the first one?
I didn't see the first one.
I don't remember what the first one was.
Giannis was the second. Maybe there was, and then Bobby with the positioning with Kada. No, I mean like, maybe the refs had a pretty bad game. Missed the Giannis landing foul thing on Tatum.
Yeah, that was bad.
Yeah, clearly a foul. Okay, so I've gone through 4.
Same.
Have you gone through 4? So I have a 10%. What's your next highest percentage?
10%. I have a 10 and a 5 left.
Me too.
Shocking.
What's your 10?
John Horst.
Roster construction. So same.
There we go.
So we have the exact same. So I'll let you, just my one sentence on this is I don't feel like I can say like John Horst, 50%, all his fault. I liked the roster.
Same, which is why it's really difficult for me to do this and why I'm not putting it at like, I'm not combining it with role players or anything. Yeah. Because the roster looks good, man.
Yeah, they should be better than this.
They should be way better than this. And I don't know, like, obviously I'm assigning some blame to Horst, and I should just say front office. I shouldn't just say, sorry, Milt Newton, you can get it too.
Yeah. No one's spared.
No one's safe from the pie chart of blame. I'll just say the front office.
Yeah.
Is just like for every reason that these role players are not playing well, there has to be blame for everyone involved in that process, right? Which is why it's coaching. It's why it's the players themselves, and also why it's the front office. Like, these are the players that were chosen to be on this roster, right? Like, there were choices made, there were decisions made. Like, DeLon Wright was your 1201 or whatever it is, 601 free agent, 3 or 4. Yeah. What time is it? I don't know.
It wasn't the first minute in, because what was it? Jordan and I did the first hour and we got no Bucks news, but he was their first signing.
First signing, yes, that's right. And he's a guy, what was it, like, before the season even started, he wasn't even getting good rotation run. In the preseason, he was behind AJ Johnson.
At media day, he said he could guard all 4 of the Celtics primaries, and he got 0 minutes against the Celtics yesterday.
I mean, I could guard them. Is it going to go well? No.
I was like, that's a lot for you to say. DeLon Wright. Wow. Okay.
Sure. I love that energy, though. I have not, like, again, this is nothing against the people themselves. DeLon Wright seems like a very nice person.
Yeah.
But you've done nothing in your time on the court to be able to show that you belong out there. Nothing. Yeah. 0. We've been wondering every single game that you played, what do you do out there? Yeah. What is your role? What are you going to be doing? Because he's not guarding the best player. He's not doing anything on offense. He's just standing there. It's been tough. And it's not just him. It's like Gary Trent Jr., which I think, again, big success by the front office to be able to sign Gary Trent Jr. However, Gary Trent Jr. is doing nothing for your basketball team.
Yeah. He was supposed to be what put their offense over the top, shot 29.5% from the field, 23% three, 7 assists, 7 turnovers.
Are we going to see a 2018 Cavs at this trade deadline? It's not even possible, really, but
yeah, I mean, it's so difficult now. I mean, we're going to see something. So the roster construction at 10 for me is we've wanted the athletic center or just another center option for so long. I thought the Knicks game in particular, it's like they clearly needed that and they just don't have it. And I think Doc spoke after that game like, we don't want to put Giannis on Cat because it's just so much for Giannis to do. And like, sure, but also like, I mean, do we want to win? Like, can we take a little bit off of his plate and let him do? I mean, we've been asking for this for weeks now. Like, Giannis needs to focus a little more defensively. But then the issue is, okay, if he doesn't have 43 against the Celtics, if Dame is playing that badly, who else scores? And while I think he could have gotten more role players involved, the Bucks shot 40% from the field or from three in that game. Like, it is also, it's easier to say that when you're out there and not seeing like nobody moving and Dame is playing bad and Giannis feels like he has to do everything and there's just not enough in the tank for 48 minutes of two-way basketball. So again, like there could have been more things added, but I thought outside of a backup big and just not getting rid of Pat and Bobby, I guess were the other things that they did a good job and they wanted the continuity or whatever. But clearly now, 10 games in, the roster doesn't look great. I think some of this stuff should improve. Like, I would hope Gary Trent isn't a basketball abomination all year, but
it'd be nice.
Wright might just be gone. Yeah, it would be nice.
Like, you're relying on a two-way to be your backup point guard.
Yeah, credit to him, man.
Credit to him. He's been playing really well. But yeah, getting an athletic big is just something that's so needed for this team. Like, I've been thinking in my head, like, man, is it Tyler Smith time? At least a little bit.
He had good. I didn't watch the second half of the Knicks game. I heard he had good garbage time.
He got an upstock. The garbage time was incredible.
Yeah.
He was just hitting threes, doing whatever you need him to do. It looked good, man. It didn't quite look NBA ready yet.
Yeah.
But I mean, he did it in an NBA game, so I guess that counts for something.
That's something. I mean, a lot of the veterans haven't looked NBA ready either.
Yeah, so why not give him a shot? But that's where I am at in my head. It's like, yeah, you need an athletic big. Again, give me a Larry Nance Jr., please.
Yeah.
It would be...
After we do our pie charts, I want to do an updated trade talk because there's a couple interesting things around the league.
Okay.
But real quick, though, on the rookies, because a lot of people, AJ Johnson should be playing too.
No, he shouldn't.
2 for 11 against the Iowa Wolves in his first G League action of the season. So maybe not. 3 assists, 4 turnovers, 3 fouls, 4 points.
Yeah, not great.
Yeah, I think.
What did CL have?
CL had 22, 15, 5, 3 steals. 3 for 7 from 3. Did not shoot well from 2, but he did have 5 offensive rebounds. So I wonder if he collected some of those himself.
I can't wait to make a CL offensive rebounds projection on PrizePicks.
He was their leading scorer on a team with Justice Winslow, Henry Ellenson, AJ Johnson, etc. Terrence Davis not healthy yet, so that should help them. But
man, get like, here's another thing about the organization. Get me CL, man.
Yeah, I don't really know why he's the guy down there. I guess.
But can you imagine CL on this team? Like, they
need him.
He's an athletic big.
He did have 5 fouls, but he played 33 minutes.
That's fine.
I mean, big. He's athletic big. He's 6'7".
He's grown. He's like 6'8", 6'9" now,
That's true. He did grow. I forgot he grew. You're right. Growth spurt CL. A problem.
Yeah. Growth spurt 20-year-old CL. He's in his 20s era. He's
21.
He's 20. This still is 20s era.
He turned 21 last month, to be fair to you.
I thought he had just turned 20. That's my bad. But
no, that's okay. I think he came out at 19, so that makes sense.
But yeah, like, there's a guy who you can try, and there's no reason for, like, I get you want to establish something with the Herd and say, like, oh, we need to get these guys off to a strong start. Try the Bucks. How about that?
Yeah.
Try establishing something good with the Bucks. Like, sorry to the Wisconsin Herd. I love the Wisconsin Herd so much. Great organization, great people. I love whenever I get a chance. The Bucks matter more.
Yeah, I think they would tell you the same. The funny thing about the Herd schedule, that game was on like Friday, and they don't play again until this Friday.
Awesome. Their home opener.
Don't know what's going on.
Their home opener. If you're in Oshkosh or in the
home
Fox
opener on
Valley,
Friday
make
night.
sure you're at the home opener.
It's a back-to-back too. So I heard basketball all weekend, Friday, Saturday. They play their first 2 home games of the year, their second and third games of the season. Yeah, I mean, CL might be down there. I'm sure you'll see AJ Johnson at this point, and who
Justice
knows?
Winslow.
Justice Winslow. We'll
Henry
see when
Ellenson.
Terrence Davis is back. Henry Ellenson. Yeah, it's a fun team. James Akinjo, you may remember from Summer League, who was with the Herd last season as well. Okay. What is your? Did you do your 10? Oh, your 10% was John Horst. So we each have a 5% left.
Front office. Yep.
Okay.
So my 5%, the last thing, is Giannis.
I did Giannis / Dame play style. So different than Dame playing poorly, but I put ISO / bad D / again, I think it a little bit ties back to the culture part as well.
Yeah, I just did Giannis because this team starts and ends with Giannis. Like you can't, everything that happens, like Giannis plays a part in. Giannis has been incredible. Like he's been really good. He's been the only reason the Bucks are not. I was gonna say, like, is there really a difference between like 0-10 and 2-8?
He's the only reason they have a win.
Yeah. Like, is there that much of a difference? No.
Quickly on Giannis, 31.6% from the field, nearly 13 rebounds, 5.2 assists, 2.7 turnovers, so exactly 2-to-1 ratio there. 1.3 combined steals and blocks, 60% from the field again. So he's doing 31 on 60% shooting for the second straight season.
It's been really good. He's been really good.
He's a great basketball player.
It's not. Defensively, needs to step it up. And also, just, I guess this sort of leans into what you were saying in terms of play style. There are a lot of times during that Celtics game where it's just Giannis, top of the key, spread the floor, just go 1-on-5.
Yep.
Doesn't work. It doesn't. Like, it worked for him at some times. Like, he was able to do it because he's just arguably the best player in the world, and he's playing like it. It's just, it doesn't really lead to good team basketball. For large,
especially with the math problem now.
Yep.
The math problem is becoming more profound, and taking what are at best 50% looks, right? Like Giannis, pull up jumpers and spins into jumpers. Like we'll say 50%. That's maybe a little generous.
I think 50 is fine for this season. He's actually been hitting that in a high clip.
But if you look at his shot chart, so he took 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 shots outside of the restricted area, inside the arc. So 13 shots, I believe, if you look at, including the threes, that were like jumpers or post moves or farther. And that's just a lot of shots. And a lot of them, to your point, were no pass possessions. And that's what I really don't like. The thing about having 2 star players who can create for themselves is I'm fine if they want to do that when there's like 9 seconds left on the shot clock. But you should be looking to find a good look for someone instead of just a look Giannis can get whenever he wants. Giannis can get to a relatively open fadeaway or pull-up jumper at any point in a possession. The defense is never going to crowd him at the three-point line. He's always going to have that there. And there's just been too often in these games where he's like, well, Dame hasn't hit in a while, especially second halves. It feels like time for me to just rock into this pull-up jumper with 17, probably less than 17, because he takes his time getting across the arc too. Again, he's exhausted. I get it. But, 13 left on the clock. I'm just going to pull up into this and we'll see what happens. Like, it's nitpicking. Giannis has been incredible. They need him to not do that. And I think Dame, more defensively, sometimes he does this offensively too. Like, sometimes Dame is either like actually an impactful defender who like is like making good nail help and like knocking the ball out, or he's like
quick hands. Marcus has been good on the broadcast
when he does
pointing out like, oh yeah, all the boxing training he's been doing is leading to like some quick hands, and it's right when he does it.
When he does it, but sometimes he's just like, not even close to the screen, like wandering away from his guy. They're both ball watchers defensively sometimes, which again, this style of defense, you really can't just sit there and watch the ball because your guy is going out to 3 or your guy is changing and you need to rotate to your guy. So I think a little bit of that stems to those guys. Like some of these close games, if those guys commit more to like keeping the teammates involved, which is difficult considering how bad they've played, but that's just how you have to play winning basketball. And just on the defensive end, I think more so the defensive end for these two. I think that is like, again, they're not 8-2 if these guys lock in more defensively, but they're probably closer to 500.
And it speaks to like the rest of the team as well. Like they're the leaders of this team. Like why would anyone lock in defensively if you're just seeing Giannis and Dame just lazily going around about doing things? It's like, oh, They're the culture setters. It's them and Chris. It's mostly Giannis and Chris, but Dame is out here too.
I
He
mean,
is
it's
a
got to be
leader.
Dame now. Yeah, it's year 2. I mean, he's not the new guy anymore.
No, he's not. He should be a leader in the clubhouse, and he needs to play like it.
Yeah, so that's the blame pie chart. And again, I think the concerning thing for me is neither of us had anything more than 30%. So it's not like you can't look at this, and our 30% were 5 or 6 players. Like, I don't think there is, one thing like, oh, trade this guy and suddenly the Bucks are great. If you traded Bobby for an athletic defensive big, maybe they're like 500. That's still not very good. That's still not the goal. The goal is not to be 41 and 41. So, I think if you can get Chris back healthy and then keep the rest of the guys healthy, that's a big boost. And that'll, also fixing one thing can help with other things. But I do think the Bucks, it's like long look in the mirror time, right? Like, trades and stuff aside, which we'll talk a little bit about here. Like, there's just things that everyone needs to do differently. Like, the way the whole team played in the second half against Boston is just not acceptable. And it's not new. Again, like, great opening win in Philly. Come home for your home opener and just flat and lazy and not rotating all game. Your home opener? Like, this isn't, the January Orlando game we always joke about. Second game of the year, first game at home, and they're just flat. And again, home game, Boston, trying to get our 3rd win of the year in mid-November. No energy after halftime. Like, they can make changes, they can do whatever. You can fire Doc and, make Darvin or whoever else the coach. I don't think it's one thing. And I think it's a lot of the team has to come together and just lock in, for lack of a more sophisticated term, on, playing the right kind of basketball, especially defensively.
Yeah, there's so much for this team to improve upon, which I guess is a good thing. It's not, but here's my positive spin on it, is that if you improve in one area, just one, it should lead to better results.
Yeah, I mean,
maybe you'll win a basketball game.
You have 5 months to fix at least most of these problems.
Yeah. It's not a long time. And there's a lot of problems.
And they're pretty big problems. And again, the issue is, we knew injuries would probably be on here in one form or another, and it's probably going to remain on here. If we did this again on March 11th, I don't think we're going to be saying, wow, it's amazing that no Bucks players have missed any time.
I hope it's true.
That'd be great. But look around the league. There's injuries everywhere, and it sucks.
Yeah, Chet Holmgren, 8 to 10 weeks.
Yeah, that's the one I wanted to talk about in regards to the trade conversation.
We're trading for Chet?
No, well, maybe. If Giannis goes out. So, OKC now has basically no bigs, right? They got rid of the other Jalen Williams, I think, and JRE. They obviously thought they were going to have Chet and Isaiah Hartenstein. They now have neither. And Chet might be most of the season or the whole season. I mean, people saw the 8 to 10 week thing. That's to reevaluate him. It's like a fractured hip for a big. I mean, it's
an iliac wing fracture.
That's really bad. Really serious. So I mean, I'm sure in the short term they'll play. Maybe they'll bring back Biz again, who I think is still sitting somewhere.
Biz.
But all the Bucks people are going, oh, okay, Bobby Portis or maybe Brook Lopez to the Thunder. I'm sure the Thunder are there's a big in Milwaukee we want, but it's not one of those guys. Of course, the Bucks actually, trading Giannis. He needs to request it. All these things we've talked about to obsession. And even then, it's more complicated because the pick is split between Brooklyn and New Orleans. So you can't really tank this year or any future year unless you somehow get those picks back. Whatever. I don't know. I don't know if this makes OKC more or less likely to do something this season, but I think
it makes them less likely
to do a big move or to get Brooke or Bobby or to do anything.
Oh, I was talking a Giannis move. Obviously that doesn't. It's Giannis, and I still think it's not going to happen.
I don't know. Let's see how far we go down this road, man.
Yeah, that's fair.
If they're 4-16, I mean, maybe Giannis just wants harder battles, but maybe he's I'm inspired by Ryan Rollins too. CL is coming. Dame escaping Portland just to now play with Giannis and a bunch of young random guys is kind of hilarious.
Yeah. At least Miami's bad.
Yeah.
That makes everything better. I think it's less. I could see them making a play for Bobby.
Yeah, I think the problem is I think Kenrich Williams is hurt too, and that's a salary match that could make sense. Maybe it's still not close enough though.
I think it was close enough, but I could be wrong.
Yeah.
It's just what do you want? What do you want if you're the Bucks? Do you want like a pick? Do you want
Well, I think you want a player. I mean, if you're not dumping it, and again, I don't think they would never proactively trade Giannis if Giannis wants to. If Giannis is like, hey, I think we're done here, which it doesn't seem like he's going to say. But also, I mean, he's like pleading the guys to play hard, and they just don't. So I'm sure that's frustrating. I don't think it's easy though to, especially mid-season, to do something like that. But again, like, are we going to be 5-20?
This week is make or break for the Bucks.
Yeah.
It determines where the season's going.
It's what is it? Toronto, Charlotte, and someone else bad, and Detroit.
That's if you don't win 2 of those 3 games, you're done.
Yeah. If you have a losing record this week against those 3 teams, I mean, and then I think any convo can happen. You know, we've been the people who have yelled at like the national media trade speculation. If you're 6-12 after going 1-2 against the Hornets, Pistons, and Hornets, Pistons, Raptors,
you wouldn't be.
You suck. I mean, you're bad. And if you're honest, it's like, okay, I'm on a bad team putting up 40, 50.
You'd be 3-10.
Yeah, 3-10. What did I say? 3-12.
You said 6-12.
No, I don't know where those numbers are coming from. They need to have 5 wins after this week. And I'm normally not the guy they need to win. They need to start winning, man.
They do. Like they're 2-8
games.
They're 2-8. Remember when we were so confident in the 1-6 Bucks?
Yeah, I know that. It feels like an eon ago.
Here's the thing, though. Like the Knicks game was bad. The Celtics game was winnable, but also it's like the Celtics.
That's twice in a row they've done the same thing against that team.
Yeah, and it's like maybe learn something.
Just come out the second half. I thought actually the first one they just played stupid. The first one was like the infamous Bobby posting up next to Giannis and Dame the whole third quarter, and they got destroyed. This game was like they're just flat and they're not getting any offensive rebounds. They still can't guard Peyton Pritchard. Very frustrating game.
Yeah. But the 1-6 Bucks now turned into the 2-8 Bucks.
Yeah.
It's not
again, they lost to good teams, but the way they lost was just like non-competitive game. Non-competitive game against the Knicks, non-competitive half against the Celtics.
Yeah. And it's like, you can make the excuses, right? Like, second game of back-to-back, it's on the road in New York. It's tough.
The Knicks have 6 NBA players.
Yeah, there's 6 better NBA players.
Better, but I mean, like, I don't care about the tired thing when it's the Knicks and Ariel Huckporty is their 7th man. Those guys are tired too, man. Guess what? They're playing harder.
Yeah, they are. They really are. But yeah, if they don't win 2 out of these 3 games, it's over. Season's over.
Yeah, and I think anything can happen from there. I'm not trying to be doom and gloom, sound the alarm guy, but we've never seen this before.
Reality.
We've never seen a season just end like this.
No, I mean we've been like getting back to what you were saying earlier, yelling at the national media when the Bucks were good, and it's just trying to what's Giannis doing? Then the Bucks are bad now.
Yeah,
now it makes sense.
I mean, really, almost anything's on the table. Again, I don't think you ever just go like, "Oh, that's a great offer. We're just going to trade Giannis," especially because you could trade Giannis and then give up the Cooper Flag pick like that. That's like everyone's got to go if that happens. But you just don't know how everyone's going to act. And everything Giannis has done and said, he wants to stay. Everything else. He's also said a lot he wants to win, though. And the Bucks are not doing that, which is a pretty big problem.
Yeah, as long as they're winning, he's always said. And we thought that was always going to be the case.
But for sure, I mean, at the very least, every other player, and I mean every other player on the roster could move.
Oh, I think so. I think that's fair.
We're probably there already.
Yeah, we're 100% there already. We're skirting around that. That includes Dame.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. I don't know where you would go with that, but it's anything.
Miami
possible.
Still wants him.
Cool. Give us. Do we want Jimmy?
Tyler Hero's been their best player this year.
That's what I'm saying too.
Were they right about that one? Let's hope not.
Well, they're bad. So.
Oh, well, that's.
Listen, let me have my.
We know something about that.
Let me have my copium.
They're looking down at the Bucks in the standings.
Yeah, they're 6th in the East right now.
At what, 4 and 5?
Yeah.
That's the other thing. I mean, imagine Chris comes
Like,
back Tuesday and they roll off 5
third
wins.
in the East is 500. Like, there's still so much runway. There's so
it's
much
not just the record that has us like contemplating if this is it. It's like they look really bad, and in ways that are more than them being shorthanded or losing these games.
Yeah, but here's like again, getting back to what we were saying about the 1-6 Bucks. There's still time. Like, you can still recover from this.
Yeah,
you can absolutely still recover from all of this. Like, you could be up to what is it? You could be up to 6th or 7th in the East by the end of the week.
Yeah, if you're 5 and 8, you know, you work on the defense, and again, like to Giannis's point, some of the disappointing vets just aren't playing anymore. These young guys are coming; they're taking the minutes. That's helped. I think that's helped a lot. But you need to like iron out the rest of this stuff, and it's going to require roster moves. It's going to require a lot of just like players buying in more and working harder too.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Like, I hate being all doom and gloom, but what else can you be when you're? I'm not used to this.
No,
I'm not used to podcasting about a bad basketball team. I mean, neither are you, but you're just a pro. But
I mean, this is unprecedented stuff for a team that's supposed to be this good. 2-8 is crazy.
2-8's insane. It's ridiculous. Like, people in my normal like everyday life. This is my normal everyday life too. But you know, my non-basketball world are just asking me like, hey, what's going on with the Bucks? I'm like, I talk about this team enough already.
I know. I was like, I can't just keep doing. I got to save this for Rohan because I don't know if I can get through like extra Bucks talk.
I need to talk to you about.
I'm keeping it. I'm keeping the Bucks talk in my Eurostep tank. I can't just be using this on everybody because it's not fun anymore. I lost you for a second. What'd you say?
No, I said I will break down.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. It's yesterday. I was just like, I was mad at the end of the game. I hate bad basketball so much. The way they were playing, I was like actually just upset, and that's not fun. That's not what I want from watching the Milwaukee Bucks. So, yeah, hopefully they can fix it. That'd be great if they could fix it. I would prefer that greatly.
Yeah, me too. Do we want to do a little bit of? Is that the trade stuff you talked about, or did you have?
That was pretty. I mean, yeah. Do you have any ideas? Rohan, fix the Bucks.
Fix the Bucks. Make me GM. I'd charge a consulting fee.
I would do it.
Hey, if I say these things and they actually happen, the Bucks owe me. Let me pull up this trade machine right now.
Eric Name just put out a piece from last night. Let's see the quotes here as well.
Oh boy.
Doc says, we can't sustain. The Cleveland game, we came out like gangbusters, and as the game goes on, we just don't sustain our play. The game plan against Cleveland was great coming out, and we lost it. The game plan coming out tonight, again, was great, and then we lose our way. And so it's my job to try to make sure we keep going, keep playing at the right pace. We didn't do that. That's the other thing about Doc. And you can throw this stuff away if you want. Most of the stuff he says, I'm like, yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, like I do think that's the issue. I do think that's got to be.
I mean, yeah, he's not wrong in that regard.
And then again, like, they start out flat. He calls a timeout like 2 plays into the third quarter, or 3 plays, whatever it was, tries to address it, and they just remain flat.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, I don't want to put all the blame just on Doc. I mean, a lot of this is coaching staff.
Yeah.
Like, maybe one of your 10,000 assistants can do something, you know?
I know.
Like, you have 3 rows of... Maybe there's too many cooks in the kitchen.
I know. It is seeming like that.
Like, what is everyone out there doing? I don't know.
They're chilling.
So, a team, like, I'm trying to think of teams that would want or are willing to make trades. One of them is the Pelicans. The issue with the Pelicans is they have fewer bigs than the Bucks. That's the thing.
And they're all hurt. Every player on their team is hurt. So that doesn't help either.
So obviously the Bobby Portis for Larry Nance straight up is there. You can add picks, but just the salaries match. You can do that.
Yeah.
Or Bobby makes slightly more than Larry Nance, so it works from the Bucks perspective. But I don't know where else to go. Like, you can't aggregate salaries for Kyle Kuzma, but can you get, I don't know, Rashawn Holmes?
Yeah, I've heard somebody asked me that. Like, is getting Rashawn Holmes, does that make the Bucks better too? Like, if they trade Bobby for Rashawn Holmes,
Like,
I don't know, man.
does
I don't
that
know.
work?
Yeah, I haven't checked the numbers on that.
It doesn't work actually.
Okay.
He makes $100,000 too much. He
Do they
makes
have a
12
trade
point.
exception? No.
No.
Oh yeah, yeah, they do. They have a 12 million. So if they want to take Pat and swap Bobby for Rashawn Holmes, you could do that.
Oh wow. So
You
Bobby
could do
and Pat.
Marvin Bagley. I wonder if this is off by like literal dollars. They both make 12.5. I don't know if it's the exact same number or not. It has to be the exact same number.
You could do Marvin Bagley for Portis, I think.
Well, that's again, it depends on the exact number.
That's the thing.
It can't be $1 more. So I'm just saying 12.5 here on the trade machine. If it's $1 more, you can't do it. I'm not going to look it up. I'm not excited about that.
CJ McCollum, what did you do? Also, here's some blame. The CBA.
It doesn't help. Although again, like they've still added players.
But still, like you can't make these adjustments mid-season once you actually get to see these guys on a court, which is part of the front office and why I didn't only have them at 10% is like they couldn't see how these guys are going to play together before they got them. You know?
Right.
Like you can't how cool would it be if you could just like audition like 2 games before you actually start? I mean, that's free labor and you shouldn't do that, but
10 days. Just wait till the 10 days. Keep a bunch of roster spots open.
Let's sign Gary Trent Jr. to a 10-day.
10 days.
Let's see what happens.
We just want to double check Gary.
Maybe they should have.
Time Lord's back playing, I believe.
Time Lord is back playing and playing well.
Yeah, I would try it.
Why
Bobby
not?
for Time Lord. I mean, your injuries pie chart might go up expeditiously.
It will. But how much does Time Lord make? He makes 12.4. That works.
Yeah, it always works. That's really interesting.
A 6'9" center who's ferocious on the boards. Here's the thing about Bobby. Really liked from him was he was rebounding aggressively.
Yeah.
Like he was going up and getting the ball with 2 hands. Like he was jumping his 5 inches off the ground, but he was jumping.
Yeah.
And it was, I was like, oh, that's awesome. That's really cool. And then 0 other people did that. I think AJ Green did too. AJ Green,
He's a perfect player.
He's perfect.
He does everything they need so well. He should start. I mean, I just think Ajax, they're just having some problems with him offensively.
Yeah. Do you think Doc put like, he said AJ and then Ajax, like, they're like, oh, who's starting? He said AJ. Ajax was like, let's go. And then he's like,
yeah, you can't turn him off at that point.
Yeah. It's like, I got to do this for the team. And then everyone's looking, the coaching staff's looking around like, oh, we should have specified. I mean, we have 3 AJs on this team, so we should have been more specific.
Can I interest you in
Yes.
Pat and I guess a 2nd round pick for Cody Martin? Do you have to do a first for that now?
God, no, you can't.
No, I don't think you can.
Well, first
Cody
of all,
Martin
the Bucks can't.
They have 1, I think.
There's no shot that they're trading their 2032 pick. I think it is
for Cody Martin. I know
for Cody Martin. If they do, fire everyone.
Yeah, especially since I think like that sized wing is not what they need the most.
No, they need a.
You could trade Bobby Portis for Cody Martin, but yeah, I don't know if that really helps you.
And again, like the problem with a lot of these things is if you need a big, you're trading a big to get a big.
Yeah. Nick Richards hurt now. That's brutal.
Everything is bad.
My white whale, Nick Richards.
I don't know why. I thought you were about to say my wife, Nick Richards. I was like,
we're not going that far. I'll let the ship go down. I'm not going to marry. I'm happily married to someone else, not Nick Richards.
I was going to say, like, how dare you to Mrs. Euro stuff?
Not going to wife swap in Nick Richards.
What?
Yeah, Dorian Finney-Smith doesn't really interest me, and you have to get Brook level salary to go there. I don't think he's that good anymore.
Like you don't, and you also don't need like wings theoretically.
Yeah, like unless he can kind of play as a big, but not really.
No, he's more of like the best he can do is be a small 4.
Bobby buckets for Chris Boucher. I don't think so.
I hate that I'm thinking about it.
I don't know. Maybe.
I mean, Chris Boucher, like, this is where I'm at. I used to hate on Chris Boucher so much
Yeah.
because everyone thought that he was the next, like, oh my God, look, he's such a good young player while he's 30 years old or something.
Yeah.
But he's big.
He's a big guy. Oh boy. Would you trade Brook for beef stew?
Oh man.
I don't think I would.
I don't think I would, but also maybe.
That's
Like,
the Magic have a lot of bigs, but I don't think they're trading any of them.
no, the Magic don't need
And
to.
they just re-signed them all. I don't think they can trade any of them.
I think they could probably yeah, that's true. You'd have to wait until December, I think.
Yeah. I don't know if the Bucks have that long.
How many days are in November? 30?
Don't ask me math questions.
It's I just don't know how many days are. I think it's 30.
I don't either.
Even though there's only 19 days. I'm glad there's another person like me, because I was about to say, like,
I never know this.
I never know how many days are in a month. Like, I'll say, oh, does November 31st sound right? Not really.
I think it does.
Does it? I'm gonna sound really stupid if there are 31 days in November.
I'll sound stupid if there aren't.
There are 30 days.
Damn. You win. Does it change sometimes? Or is it
I don't
always
think
the same?
I think it's always the same. I think it's just February that changes.
Oh yeah, and February is the famous one. Would you trade Brook for Zach Collins?
Oh man, no.
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, stretchy, younger, barely playing though.
Yeah, on a bad Jazz team, which could mean he's good.
Spurs now.
Oh my God. Oh, I was thinking of John Collins. Oh my God.
Oh no, I wouldn't do that. Zach Collins.
Zach Collins, I feel worse about.
Wemby's having a bad year. Can you buy low on Wemby?
I mean, you'd have to. Can the Bucks even trade for Wemby? Is it like possible? He makes 12.7.
Yeah, it's a tough number. I mean, they're obviously not gonna.
Like, you have to trade Brook. I say you have to trade Brook.
I don't think they're gonna do Brook for Wemby. I mean, I'm open to that, but I don't think they're gonna do that.
I don't think they're trading him. Do you get Chris Paul?
No. I mean, you could use a backup point guard.
He'd be a really good backup point guard. Yo, think about how much Mamu would save the Bucks right now.
Not at all. I saw someone saying this, like, if only they kept Mamu over Bobby. I was like, how does this solve any of their defensive issues? How sad would it be when Ryan Rollins beats out Chris Paul too? Ryan Rollins is undeniable, Rohan.
He really is. Do the Bulls have any bigs that they just don't use? Jalen Smith? He's recently signed, so it'd be December.
Brook for Clint Capella.
Listen,
I don't know, man.
I might.
I don't know if I want to trade for a 30-year-old big. I kind of think Brook is better.
I'll trade but you're trading a 36-year-old big.
Yeah, but he still might be better.
Yeah, he still might be better.
Okongwu would be fun, but he makes $14 million. That's a tough number for the Bucks.
Yeah, again, thank you, CJ McCollum.
Yeah.
I should change one of my blames to the CBA.
I mean, everything is CJ McCollum's fault.
Just, everything in general. Jaylen Brown's fault, too.
Yeah.
Calling Giannis a child. What are we doing?
Yeah, that whole thing was... I am purposefully not weighing in on that whole thing.
Yeah, I'm upset with myself that I brought it up.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. There's not a lot of trades that I love.
This is the issue with the trade market, is that do you have to sign like a guy who's a free agent? Is Biz out there?
Yep. Pretty sure. The real trade is sending Marjan somewhere and bringing in Markelle Fultz. Sending Pat C somewhere and bringing in Biz and call it a roster.
He's on the Thunder, it says.
Really? Is he actively?
I don't know.
That may be like last season. I didn't think they brought him back in. Maybe they did.
No, I thought they had
not. I was gonna say they might though now, because again they have Ousmane Dieng is 6'10". Not sure if he's really ready to play yet. And then Malevi Leon is a 6'9" rookie, and then they do have the other Jalen Williams. My bad, they still have him, but he's 6'9".
When you said that, I was like, did I miss something?
I must have just been thinking JRE. I know they got rid of JRE's playing somewhere else. Jeremiah Robinson Earl. Would you do Brook for Dort?
No, because I don't think that's what they need.
I know. I feel like you're just swapping one issue for another.
Yeah,
Like
and
you also need to bring in a center if you do that.
you're making your big issue worse because then what are you doing? Starting Bobby and having no reserve big?
Yeah, and I know
Tyler Smith time?
everyone wants to start Giannis, but it's like we just talked about. He has to do so much offensively. He's not able to lock in that way on defense, and he would need to be more active than ever defensively if he's starting at the. I don't think it's sustainable.
No, it really isn't. Like we've known this for years now.
Oh, but that Jalen Williams is hurt.
Yes, that's the thing.
He's out with a hamstring strain, so that's why he's not available. And Kenrich Williams has also been sitting out with a knee injury. And then Ihart's got a broken hand, and now the Chet thing.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, there's not many trade partners you can go to. I think is it just Larry Nance?
Yeah, I mean, the Grant Williams thing doesn't work anymore.
No.
Bobby Portis for Kyle Anderson?
No. What do we?
No.
When the Bucks are, the issue is that they're too slow in plotting. The answer is not trading for. Yes, it's not trading for Kyle Anderson.
You got me on that one.
I just don't see any other trade partners.
Oh, I keep seeing this Brook for D'Angelo Russell thing.
What are we doing?
I hate the Bucks basketball.
I've never seen that, and I'm very happy.
I don't know why that keeps going around, but yeah, I'm not a big fan of that proposal. Brook for Rui Hachimura.
No, I also like you still have the problem of your center.
Yeah, you need a center. If you that's the issue with trading Brook is that you also need I think they need 2 trades probably.
Yeah, can you get? They need to
like. Okay, I mean again, if Dame or Giannis is going there, I mean I think Miami says no, right? I mean Rozier, Hero, Dame, Jimmy.
That's fair. Do you get Rozier too? How much does Bam make?
We're too far afield now.
We're too far upfield?
Afield.
Oh, okay.
Like just too far out there.
No, you're right. You're right. Bam makes he only makes 34. But who's paying Terry Rozier $25 million a year?
That's what I'm saying. Everything about Terry Rozier confuses
Why are you paying him that much money? I thought he made like 12 mil.
They're a first apron team too, so I think that gets a little complicated.
Jeez, I really thought that they were. I did not know they were paying Terry Rozier that much money.
Yeah, so their roster.
I take everything I said about the Heat away.
Their roster being Rozier at 25, Hero at 29, Dame at 49 million would be hilarious.
Yeah, is this where you're like? This is really where I'm like, man, I wish we had Kello Ware.
I don't think he's playing well there though. Yves Missy right now is having some really.
I don't think Kello was really playing.
Well, yeah, he's not. He's played 24 minutes.
Yeah, that's the thing when it's behind Bam.
Well, they're playing. I thought they were going to play them together a little bit, but I mean they do have a lot of 4s. Jaquez, Highsmith, Jovic. They're not good, but they do have them. Yeah. Kevin Love played 1 game only so far. Is he hurt too?
Yeah, I think so. Stop. There's not
really, weird roster.
This is really depressing, by the way, doing this.
I mean, it's got to John Horst shock and titillate us, please.
Yeah, like do your thing. Like we know you're going to try to get some washed power forward at the deadline. Just don't.
PJ Tucker, no.
Oh God, no, please, please no. But he's going to try. Actually, no. Who did they didn't get a wash power forward last year, did they?
No, they got a wash point guard. Pat Bev. Yeah.
So at least they broke that streak.
True.
So that's good. That bodes well.
I guess.
Listen, I'm trying to look for any bright spots possible.
You could not do the Dame Kawhi Leonard prove it trade. Oh, actually, you could. No, you can't. You can't do that.
I mean, I'd rather have a guy who's playing.
Yeah. How many games do you need to see Kawhi play before you try that? Not saying
5.
The Clippers would do it. Yeah, I don't know if we'll get there before February.
I need him to play 5 games in a row.
We're definitely not going to get there before. Yeah,
Dame Kawhi prove it trade is crazy.
Insane.
Yeah. But also, like,
I don't. Yeah, you probably just can never do it. Dame's just too important, and he has been very available.
Here's the thing about Dame, and I don't think we talked about this. He's
Yeah.
been great mostly
outside of
2 games.
It's been great 77 or 67% of the time. 3 games. I would say Grizzlies was pretty bad too.
Oh, Grizzlies. I was counting Grizzlies. I was counting Celtics, and that's it.
Was he bad against the Knicks?
He was okay. 3 games, yeah.
Bad-ish. I mean, these last 2 games, he's an airballing shots, which is not good.
Yeah, why can't what's going on there? If Dame can't hit threes, like this season's just cooked. But yeah. He's been steady and pretty good, at least to start the year. He's kind of had some rough games now, but I think he's been all right. I think he's been better than I expected in most games.
Yeah. Again, we talked about this after, I forget which game, but like if he's going to be a complete flamethrower most of the time and then just kind of bad sometimes, you can work with that. You just need to patch up these other issues around him and make sure you're winning most of those games, because the timing has just been bad. Like he's been a flamethrower when Giannis is out and they lose anyway, or he's been bad when they just really, I mean, again, he hits like 2 threes and they can probably beat Boston. He just couldn't do it.
Yep. Just airballing shots. It's so strange. All right. Do we have anything
Trade
else?
talk was not fun.
Trade talk was not fun at all. It was just us realizing that there's no real trades out there.
Again, John Horst shocked the world.
Or give us Larry Nance.
That too.
Okay, I know I keep saying this, but are you for that trade?
Sure. I'm for it more for the just like,
do something.
Yeah, and like let's cycle through Pat and Bobby here. Again, though, like you got more out of Bobby these last couple of games. Like I do think they're adjusted his role offensively, and that's helped. So I would do it, I think, but I'm like less into it than I was a week ago.
How much of it is alleviated with Chris coming back?
How much can you, like, how many games is he going to play the rest of the way, though? And how many minutes? Like, they do still need the scoring.
Yeah.
But, like, can Trent give it to you? That's like, if I felt good about Gary Trent coming back, but I mean, how can you? He's been terrible or hurt the whole year.
Yeah. I don't hope he's been hurt the whole year, but I kind of hope.
You hope you can tie it to it, right? Yeah. Like he's dealing with that, and now he can come back and play good. I'm with you there. It'd be nice if you could point to that for the rest of his play.
Yeah, if there was just like some excuse you could make to say like, oh, it's not even an excuse, like a legitimate reason. But
last thing before that we wrap up trade talks. So if they duck below the second apron, they can aggregate. I wonder if we're getting to a point where some of these young guys are playing well enough that they could be the sweetener in a big trade. And that would be bittersweet, but
that'd be horrible. I'd hate that. Like, but it
depends who you
true. Exactly. Like it depends on who you can get. If they trade AJ Green though,
it's going to feel bad. It's going to feel bad. Ajax too, I think it will feel tough.
but AJ Green's so perfect.
I know he fits so perfectly. You'd have to bring in a hell of a player for me to want to trade AJ Green out.
Yeah.
And it'd have to be like, we're able to reshape the whole roster.
And he's on such a cheap contract too.
I know, forever.
He's making $2.1 million and is locked in for next year too.
Yeah. No, I know. I just mean though, like when you have people say no assets, you got to get creative. There's some assets, but
is out there.
What I missed that. What'd you say?
Oh, I said Marjan is a great young player to all the teams out there.
If you're listening, make the call now.
Yeah. Whoever
4 seconds.
Who's the GM of, I don't know, Landry Fields, if you're listening to this.
Yeah.
Who's the GM of the Hawks, right?
I think so. Yeah, he's got to make that call.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to make that call.
All right. I think we're out of fake trades. They're not good. Not a good trade pod. But I think probably outro time here as we fight through some skips as well.
Yeah. So hope everyone enjoyed the Pie Chart of Blame podcast. I know we did. It was a fun exercise. Shout out to, what was it, Big Cat something?
Yeah, something like that. I'll pull it up again.
Yeah, pull it up again, please. I feel bad.
Oh, we got another injury.
Oh no.
Malik Monk. Just talking about missing one game though, so hopefully it's not serious.
Too bad.
Cat God 29.
Yeah, shout out to Cat God 29 at Cat God 29 on Twitter for this great idea. Hope you enjoyed. We'll make some graphics for this at some point. But yeah, thanks for sticking with us through this depressing podcast. Hopefully this helps you all process this as much as it helps us process this. But yeah, thank you for listening to this episode of the Eurostep here on Blue Wire and GSPN, presented by our great friends over at Prize Picks. Make sure you subscribe wherever you're listening to or watching this podcast. If you wanted a commercial-free feed, like we talked about earlier, you can subscribe to GSPN Premium at gspn.info. You get that exclusive GSPN After Dark pod, the commercial-free pod. So make sure you check that out. But yeah, pod random. We'll talk to you next time.